Hello and welcome to another exciting webinar from Forth. Today, our subject is partnership with Forth and Wireless Social. I'm Matt, I'm from Forth, and I'm here accompanying both Sam, who's the sales director from Wireless Social. Welcome, Sam.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Brilliant. Right, so we're just going to go through a bit of the agenda for today. So obviously, we'll do a little introduction to start with. Then what I will do, I will pass the mic to Sam just to do the introduction to Wireless Social. And then the presentation will be giving back to me to do a presentation of collaboration of data between Forth Analytics and Wireless Social. So just to give you a little bit of the contents around this partnership between us and Wireless Social. So it came all about as a part of our new partner program that will be seeing us working with selected partners and streamline the ever-increasing digital services across the hospitality sector. And exciting thing is that by integrating the functions from Wireless Social into Forth Analytics, we will be able and we can now provide a deeper and richer content for our mutual customers. So that means that we can provide greater clarity to the figures, and we can unveiling things like training needs or maybe a business to take up a particular offer. So now I will hand you over to Sam, who's going to give you a little bit more information about Wireless Social. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Matt. Cheers. I'd like to begin by covering a little bit about who we are, Wireless Social, just for anyone who's not come across ourselves before, and what we do as a service. So what we do is begins around the way that guests log into the Wi-Fi in a venue, and it's nothing hospitality specific. People need to log into Wi-Fi pretty much wherever they are nowadays, but we made the decision right from the start of our organization 5-6 years ago that we would focus specifically on hospitality. The reason being is we discovered that what we created gave this unprecedented insight into all manner of things to do with your customer behavior, to understand them better and allow hospitality operators to engage with their customers in quite new ways. So we do a lot of different things within this service. It starts from how guests actually enjoy their experience inside your venue, and then it ends up going all the way through to footfall, analytics, conversion rates, social interests. I'll try and touch on most of them in this webinar today, but I will try and focus on those elements which are more specific to our new partnership with Forth, which is more around the presence data and the insight into those guests. Very quickly, to give you an idea, we are UK focused, so we now have over 25,000 live access points. We have another 500,000 new users, that's unique members of the public using our platform each month. And we've just recently surpassed 10 million unique users that have now logged in, to about 1 in 4 adults in the UK. So most people on this webinar probably will have logged in at some point using our platform without knowing it. Our biggest strength seems to be we have 53 now integrations with hospitality solutions. So that's tech partners who are fantastic at what they do, very much so like Forth, who we integrate with and share this data to enrich the operator's experience for both platforms. And we currently provide this into just over 3,400 customers across the UK. In terms of the data, and this is one thing that's really important for our relationship with Forth, is 67% is social, 62% Facebook. And what that means is you're not only getting incredibly high accuracy in the contact details you're getting, everyone puts their correct email address into Facebook that they check, everyone has their correct birthday in there, but they also have things in there that they share without really knowing, so their social likes, their interests, what competitors of yours they follow, how often they check into certain venues, if they're a vegan or a vegetarian or a meat eater. So it's all in there and it's all shared and collected within our platform. The biggest thing that we've launched recently, which is the reason we started the partnership with Forth, which is really exciting, is something called Presence, which is the latest service we offer here at Wireless Social. And the best way to explain it is it's like Google Analytics, but in real life for the bricks and mortar venues that you're running. Presence means that our sensors in the venue are picking up any Wi-Fi enabled devices, not just inside the venue, but also walking past outside. So that could be a mobile phone, a tablet, a laptop, an Apple Watch. As long as they're Wi-Fi enabled, which the majority will be, our system will pick up that and then track not just that they were there, but how long they were there for, how often they return, did they walk into the venue or not. And what it gives you this new ability to do is track conversion rates for how many people that are walking past actually convert and walk into your venue. So you can test new signage outside, new boards, new campaigns, and do some A/B testing. It measures dwell times throughout the day, and you can split that down into gender, age, anything you wish. But it also allows you between your venues and over time to spot if footfall is growing or shrinking. It can allow you to decide on opening or closing new venues. It's really powerful data if used in the correct manner. If that guest then actually logs onto the Wi-Fi, it marries up the two sets of data and says, okay, Sam, 32 from the Northwest, all the information on me socially, all my contact details, but it also tells you how often I come, how long I stay in the venue, how many times I walk past in a week but don't actually step inside. And then you can use that information to communicate with me in a more personalized manner. So it's all about allowing operators to speak to people in a more personalized approach, which is better for both yourselves and the customer, because everyone's getting a better experience. There's many different ways that people have used this presence data to benefit their decision making with inside our bigger groups, but I've not been impressed as much by any of them as I have, by the way, that Forth have shown us they can do this by overlaying it with their sales data, by pulling in not just presence but also social likes, gender, age, all manner of things that they can overlay. So it works quite simply. We'll capture all this for you within our portal. We'll manage it all for you. You'll have access to look at it in its raw form through wireless social should you wish. But the way it works now is that we can feed that via API directly into the Forth platform. And what we've found is that by overlaying our data with their data, it gives you insight and context into your customers that you really could not get before this point. So it's a really exciting time, actually. I'll hand you back to Matt, who will explain a little more about what happens once this data lands within the Forth platform.
That's really exciting and really interesting what you said, Sam. So thank you very much for that. Yes, I'm just about to show you how it looks in real life. So when you sign up for that particular offering from us. So right, and how does it look like? So this is Forth Analytics, and for those who are not familiar with Forth Analytics, very brief walk around. So you can export the information, you can schedule the information, you can pull the information from the dashboard, and you can browse that information as well. The goal is to merge all the data. You know, what wireless social is doing great, and what Sam was just mentioning a few minutes ago, it's about bringing all that presence data from known and unknown devices. And I've been working with the data for a while now, and I might think that it's one of the most innovative things we've done so far in analytics, and it's one of the most exciting information which you can bring in, because it's all about that power of merging that information together and giving that richer content. So you can see my screen, and I can choose a date. So let's just choose one of the dates. Here we go. So I can go back into one of the days, and maybe like for the purpose of this particular presentation, let's just pick up one side. Let's pick Glasgow as an example. So I can select a Glasgow site right on my screen, and straight away you can see it's a real life. So I can see how many transactions I had from that day coming from the EPOS provider, so from the EPOS data, and what Sam was mentioning about the presence. So you can see that we had in Glasgow 108 transactions, new transactions, and there were more than 10,000 presence events around the venue. I can look how many covers we had in that particular day as an MIM operator, what were the sales, what was the spend per head, what was the dwell time, so what was the duration of an average login and the presence data. So you can see that it was 45 minutes. But then having the data from the transactional data, we can also look that the dwell time, the average dwell time per transaction was 58. So you can see that they were very close to each other. And one of the most important thing is about the conversion. So you can see that in Glasgow, we've only converted 1.1% of all those presence data which we had into the real money, so into the real transactions. But you can look into that information one by one. So have a look at those two graphs just here. So you can see that these are my new transactions, which I had so new checks which are open, and on the right hand side I can see the presence data. We've categorized those for three types: for the passerby, when the login lasted less than a minute, so that was just a person who passed by. We've got a window shopper, so someone who was in the area and was just around your venue for less than 10 minutes. But we also focused, and very much focused, on the potential customers, so those people who were in the area around your venue for more than 10 minutes. And now, just to give you a little bit of content, so you can see, let's say 4 o'clock, right, when there were only new 2 transactions happening, so only new 2 checks opened, right? But how many people I had in the area? You can see that I had 759 people, and 130 people were there more than 10 minutes. So you can see that my conversion rate was not that great at 4 o'clock. And we've mentioned that we merged all the data, so we also pull the data from our core application. So when you've got our labor productivity platform, you know how many people you've deployed for individual time of a day, so you can look at the shape of a day. And I can see on the dashboard that I had 2 employees and 2 staff members on that day at 4 o'clock in my restaurant. So I can easily say, yes, just get them out of the doors, do some sampling. There is 700 people just around you. Just go out, do the sampling. One of the people can be staying inside, and that will definitely convert into more than 2 new transactions at that particular time. So we've been talking about a lot about conversion, so you can see that now I can convert and I can compare my sites which I've got. So you can see that Sophia has been converting 5.4% of all the presence data into real transactions, and these are the best performance. So you can see Amsterdam, you can see Budapest, you can see Sophia doing really well in terms of converting that. And how does it compare to my site, right, to Glasgow? So now I can look into that rate. So I've got the last 10 days and I can see what that conversion rate. So I can see that on this particular day, my conversion rate jumped into 4.7%. So I was doing really good job. So that is one of the parts of the task which we've been looking into wireless socials data and how we can correlate with the transactions and with the right people and having the right people at the right time in our venues. And the second thing, which is really interesting, it is all about the repetitive presence. So we've looked into the transactions which lasted 10 minutes, and some mentioned about the unknown and unknown devices. So we've called them slightly differently. It's registered and not registered. I can just select a registered type, and you can see that my data is recomputing at the moment, and I've got now all the repeated presence of the all known or registered devices in the area. So when I'm looking into this particular day, I can see that I had 10 people, right, on that particular day who's been there before. What I can do, I can drill down into the session and get more information. So now I can see how the shape of the day of those repetitive visits looked like. But you can also see the green graph, which is the loyalty of visits. So this is how many times these people were here before. So for example, on the 22nd, I had 10 visits, 10 customers or 10 potential devices were here before, and in total they were before in our venue for 87 times. So it is 8.7% per person that's been there before. So we've called it the loyalty of visits. And what I can do, I can correlate that information with spend per head, right? So you can see that on that particular day, the spend per head was 17.97, right? What drives it, right? Because I can see that on the next day, I had 23.11, right? So what I can do, I can actually just drill through and some mentioned, right, who are the range. So I can see that now the most of the registered devices came from people who are between 18 and 24. And how did it correlate with the sales? With 1797. And then the next day I had a massive jump. So just let's take a look into that one. So you can see that here you go, the group has changed. So now I've got slightly more mature customers. Most of them were between 25 and 34 years. And then it drove with the higher increase of the spend per head, which is really interesting. And this is something that you will be able to get out by having and merging that information together. I can also look into the repetitive visits by hour, so I can see that the most repetitive customers were around the venue around 3 o'clock. But what I can also do, which is really interesting, and let me just go back maybe into whole data, so from known and unknown sites, and what I can see, I can now split it by the weekdays, right? So I can see that actually Thursday is one of my busiest days. I've got most of the repetitive visits are happening on Thursday, and all of those, I mean, yeah, slightly in terms of the day part, they're happening more during the dinner time. So if I go back and I take a look into the registered one, right, so let's just recalculate it again. Now, if I'm a marketer, I know that, for example, right, I mean, those 53 customers were on Thursday, come mostly, right? What I can do, again, I can drill through and see information what age they are in, but also I can look into all of those repetitive, so which age bucket who are coming to our venue the most on Thursday, on Friday, and on other days of the week. But I can also do, I can just compare that repetitive visit with other sites. So I'm in Glasgow, so the most repetitive visits are in Constania, 32, and then I've got in some other places as well, and I can benchmark and I can compare that information together. So the main takeouts from this particular session is we've looked into two main options. So it is about the presence data and about the traffic in front of your venue, right? And how does it correlate and how does it merge with number of transactions you had on the day, and also how many people of staff you've got deployed at a particular time who can pick up the additional tasks and just go out and advertise and do the sampling and just encourage people to come into your venue, because this is how many of them you've got across the venue. And a very last thing, you can also compare number of transactions versus last week versus last year or maybe last month. And also, if you're trying to analyze why your sales are increasing, for example, why your sales are decreasing, right? How does it correlate with traffic in front of your venue? So you can see that we've got a decline in presence, right? Like a week on week, but around 2 o'clock, for example, we had a huge uplift of those transactions from the week before and this particular day, which we have selected. So that is what analytics with wireless social is. If you've got any questions, just make sure that you send them to marketing@forth.com, and we will obviously be back to you as soon as possible. For details on other Forth webinars or events, just go to www.forth.com/events. And also, if you'd like to view some other webinars which we've done so far, they are also available on www.forth.com/resources. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you, Sam, for coming over to Forth to give that fantastic overview of wireless social offering. And thank you very much as well for giving me this opportunity to show how wireless socials data look and how do they merge in Forth Analytics.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.